Welcome to this session on blogging. I would like to start this session with a small video. Let's see. Now compare this video to what a writer would explain in this video. Imagine a background with rocks on a mountain, a group of students standing, a lean and thin girl punching a little stout guy on his face and making him fall down. Let's not get into the reason why she punched him or what happened afterwards. Just imagine the situation. Now, think about the resources required to create this video scene and in what the writer required to bring up your imagination. Obviously, the writing part is easier, right? It not only helps you become imaginative. Now, in this video, you could see the actress, you could see the actor being punched. You could literally see everything happening in front of you. This one scene might have required lakhs of rupees to be invested to be recorded. Preparations, multiple takes, everything. But for a writer, it would hardly take 3 to 4 lines, a little bit of his imagination, and obviously the reader's imagination. Now, blogging is all about that, invoking the imagination of people with the least amount of resources possible. How we do that? But before I get into the how of blogging, the what of blogging, let's get into the history of writing. Writing as a tool was developed in Sumer about 4,500 years ago. The first writer was the princess of Sumer, Enheduanna. Now although she was a princess, she developed the system of accounting which Sumer had and converted it into writing hymns, sonnets. In fact, her writing has influenced the Old Testament, even the Christian hymns, and in fact, Homer himself was influenced by her. So we can say that writing is, although it's very old, in fact, writing is older than what Enheduanna wrote. Before her, it was used for practical purposes like accounting, giving descriptions of important official books or the conducts in the court. However, she converted it into something which the people could learn from. Something in a way what we can call, she might be the first storyteller in the world. Coming from that age when printing was a privilege to today when we can use the electronic media to write, to express our views. So, what is a blog? Blog is nothing but just an expression of what you feel. It's not news, it's not a technical document. It is not something you can get on the internet because it's supposed to be your own views. It's not a copy of the opinion of others. There's a difference between blog and other kind of writing. Blogs are supposed to be facts and your opinions about them. So, when you look at this girl, she is Meena Trott. She is supposed to be the person who brought about the blog revolution. Now, once again I'll say, she is not the inventor of blogging. However, she is the one who made it popular. Her company is called 6 Apart. She is the founder of, her company is actually the founder of Movable Type, TypePad, LiveJournal and Vox. These are all blogging platforms where people could express themselves. On her own blog, Meena Trott writes more about herself and what her lifestyle is all about. What she realized a little late was there are readers even for that. Even your personal life incidents, your experiences, your opinions might be important to some of your readers if you publish it on the web. So, she started her company to help people express themselves on the internet. Her team reached out to a lot of people started their individual blogs and everything. Let's not get into how she earned money, what her company contributed. However, her company, she was instrumental in implementing what we today call as the blogging revolution. She was the one who inspired a lot of people. Now, before I get into, the technicalities of the blog, let's understand one thing, why our opinions are important. Okay? We are defined by the gaps between us. I'm not talking about racism or religious differences as such in the negative way, but in the positive way. Humans are supposed to be expressive, but we cannot express our similarities with the world. Me talking about me being a human and you talking about you being a human is not going to interest anybody. However, my opinions, when they differ from the world everywhere, the people everywhere, that is what excites people. So these differences can be our lifestyle, our religion, race, gender, even our ethnicity, age, everything comes into play. The country we live in, the upbringing we might have, everything comes into play, and it is what defines us. The differences between me and the people around me or across the world is what makes me different from everybody, and that's what formulates my opinions on the topics which I have been telling you what blogging is all about. So let's get into blogging. I'll just try to explain the technical side of the blogging. This just being an intro session about blogging. So writing a blog is not just about, you write something and you just share it with the world. The time has gone where blogging used to be simple. Today, blogging not only has billions of readers, but it also has millions of writers. So to make a blog effective, we need to look into its technical side of it, the knowledge you express in those blogs, and obviously the content, the various types of factors which come into play while blogging. So the first and foremost is the language you choose. Now, language is not necessarily it has to be English. Every language has their own readers, and those readers would prefer to read in their own language. No doubt English has the highest takers in terms of readers, but again, so is the number of writers in English so high. What can we do? You can choose a language which is local to you, for which you think you have a command over, and you can express yourself as much as possible. The second part is the readability. Now, I know readability, people think that okay, whatever I can write will be readable by the user, but that's not the case. Readers like to read everything in a simpler language, or basically I would have to say a language which is readable by them. Using too technical a language on a simple blog, or using a very simple language in a scientific, technical or PhD level blog, both are a serious no. Remember that your audience, the next point that I have to talk about is the audience. Audience should always be considered when you're going to write a blog. Who you are writing for, what their mindset is, what their education is, which area do they belong to, and what part of the blog they would be interested in. I would like to talk about the sentence structure. You want active, you want passive, doesn't matter. Every kind of blog has their own reader. What depends upon is your style, and obviously, once again I'll repeat, the audience. If the audience likes a particular kind of structure, if your audience is looking for smaller sentences, you should use smaller sentences. If your audience is looking for something bigger, longer statements with many words, you can go for that. But let me tell you one thing, being a person who himself writes really long statements, I have to say, readers of long statements are very few. Even experts in a language prefer to read mid-size or smaller sentences which are easier to grasp and easier to understand. The next point would be grammar. Personally, I don't see if grammatical mistakes make any change in your reader. However, grave grammatical mistakes should be avoided. Minor grammatical mistakes are considered by your readers usually. However, if you're writing a blog on English grammar or you're writing a technical blog, a little mistake in grammatical mistake can make or break the blog. Remember, being too perfect is not the solution. However, mistakes should be avoided. In any blog, if you're writing, all these things are important. However, vocabulary plays a very big role. I'm not asking you to use a vocabulary which is, so tough that you have to pick up a dictionary and read. You have to check every other word in a dictionary. No, you don't need to do that. Keeping in view, once again, your audience. However, your vocabulary should be more than sufficient so that your users, your readers can understand it easily. If they don't know the meaning of the word, they should get it in the context. While reading it, they should be able to understand what you are trying to express. Now, before writing any blog, knowledge and research plays a huge part. Why am I saying this is because having an opinion is good because that's what you express in your blog. However, those opinions, if backed up by good sources, good knowledge and an up-to-date research, lets your readers know that they can trust you. So, what constitutes of knowledge and research? First of all, you should have at least a good deal of idea about the topic you are going to write about. So if you are going to write about, let's say, quantum physics, you need to know what quantum physics is. If you don't know, I would say you should not begin writing about it. Get into the subject, read about it, understand it. If you get the basics, start writing. But do not claim that you are an expert in quantum physics unless you actually are. Lies are not taken lightly by the internet world. Remember that. Your credibility depends upon it. Second point would be, after deciding the topic, your purpose. Why are you writing the blog? Is it just to entertain someone? Is it to disseminate your knowledge? Is it to let the world know what you feel is right or wrong? Or is it to drive traffic for a particular product, for bringing in leads, marketing? The purpose, that is important. If the purpose is marketing, you want leads or traffic using your blog, and if you get into the mode where you are dispensing with endless knowledge, it's not going to help because it won't attract the right kind of the readers. Third point is the sources. The source is important. What source you are quoting, why is it being used, is it updated, is it credible? All this becomes important in any blog. Let's say I write a blog on rocket science. Now my background doesn't have rocket science anywhere in my history. I don't know, I am not supposed to know anything about it. Not anyone in the world, after seeing my credentials, will see me as a rocket scientist. So if I write a topic on rockets, would anyone believe it? No, they won't. However, if I start quoting articles from different rocket scientists or technical documents, or even quotations or knowledge from websites like NASA, ISRO, will the people believe me? Obviously they would. Why? Because my sources are credible. Looking at those sources, people will realize that I am talking sense because it's been quoted by other authoritative persons. Till the time people start believing me, or if you are the blogger, if you start writing, unless people start believing the topic, as they start seeing you as the expert in that particular topic, you should always have impeccable sources about whatever you are expressing. Opinions, nevertheless, are a different matter. But the facts should be backed by definite sources every time. Next time is the timeline and the authenticity of the blog. Authenticity obviously comes from your own credibility as well as the sources. The timeline has to be followed. What I'm trying to say is, if I start writing about computers and if I talk about the first iMac and then I start talking about mobile phones and then I go back to the Mac, the second Mac, it might be confusing to people. What I'm trying to say is, every knowledge today might become history tomorrow. What is right today might become wrong tomorrow. So follow a timeline in your blog. Follow what you're trying to express to people and keep it in a streamlined way. Never jumble them up. It's never the right idea to do unless you want to confuse your reader. Now, authenticity is established by what you write. It has nothing to do with your credibility, with your history, rather than your audience believing in you. The more authentic you are, the longer your time as a blogger would be, and it would be easier. One lie, one mistake, one wrong way to trying to prove that you can or you are the authority on the subject is never going to help you. So lying, manipulating facts, skewing the figures is never going to help. Be as authentic as possible. Now, this was what I usually say, the knowledge, the writing and everything. However, as I said, the blogging has evolved. Earlier it used to be expressing yourself, talking about the topic, the content and everything. However, today, blogging, to be a successful blogger, you need to understand the technicalities of a successful blog. If you look here, there are so many things, technical things that you might have to learn. However, I'm not saying that you become an SEO expert or a technical expert, but knowing the basics help. So, the first thing is the heading. Obviously, the topic, the heading is important. But why is it important technically? Because that's the first thing users will see when they search. When they use a search engine like Google or MSN or any other search engine, that topic, the headline is the first thing that comes in front of them. Sorry. So writing a topic which is attractive, which lets people know what they can expect from the blog, is always a good idea. The next point is the subheadings. So when you're writing a blog, the blog should be divided into multiple sections, which we call subheadings. Technically, it is called subheadings. So each subheading is like a subtitle. So there's a bigger topic. It contains 3 or 4 main ideas, or 3 or 4 more divisions. Each division should have a topic, a subtopic. That's what we call subheading. The next, once again. The next in series is the content. So with each subtopic should contain their own content. This content is what is the most important part in today's internet world. People will say that images are important, videos are important, everything else. But what I feel is all these are supportive of the content that you can generate. Content plays a big role. What I mean by content here is the words that you write in your blog, what you express. These are very, very important. Next comes your visual cues. As I said, images, audio, video, animations, all these are visual cues which support your content. Any disconnect between the heading, subheading, content or the visual cues will put off your audience. Category and tags. What I want to say is each blog or multiple articles on your blog should be categorized based on the subjects they talk about. Let's say one of the blogs talk about marketing, the other talks about sales, the next one talks about time management. So if I have to categorize it, I would categorize these under a category of management, as well as the individual categories that I just talked about: marketing, sales, time management, everything. So what are tags then? Now tags are something which signify the smaller parts. So time management might have managing your daily routine, managing your food, managing your interactions with people, managing your office time, personal time. All these cannot be put into category because they are too small to be categorized. However, you can use tags to let the search engine and the audience know that they might find these things inside the blog apart from the category and the topics that are mentioned there. So a marketing blog might contain a little tips about the way they can talk to the people, the audience, etc. Okay. Now, the last one is the search engine. We all know that today search engines play a very big role in our lives. Anything we need, even we know the direct link to the content, we usually go to Google, search for it and click on it. Why does that happen? It happens because search engines are easier to access. So if your blog is optimized for a search engine, it will be easier for your audience to get reach to you, to reach out to you, to your blog. And let's forget about your existing audience. If let's say you write a blog about managing your marketing team. Now, if I have to read about it, I don't know about your blog. If your blog is technically sound, it is search engine optimized, you have put in the right keywords in the right places and everything, and it is relevant. What will happen is, if I search on Google, let's say I search for managing a marketing team, what will happen is your blog will show me come up in front of me as one of the links. Now, if it is in the first page of the results, I would definitely click on it if I have to read more about it. Now, if I am satisfied with the result that I get from the article or the blog that you have written, I might bookmark or save the blog. It might leave an impression to me and I might become a regular visitor. So, search engine optimization plays a big role. Once again, I don't want you to become a search engine optimizer yourself. However, knowing the basics is going to help you. Now, I know blogging as a profession or even as a part-time is becoming a big deal every day. It is one of the biggest happening careers today that people, especially content writers, seek out for. However, let me tell you one thing. You might have heard people talking about that success doesn't happen in a day. All those principles, all those rules even apply to blogging. The first day you publish a blog, you might not have even one reader. But that doesn't mean that your blogging is a waste. You have to keep at it. Now, if you look at the researches around the world done by Stanford, Harvard and other bigger research houses, that what makes anyone successful, let me tell you one thing what they have found. Success has nothing to do with social influence. It has nothing to do with your network. It has nothing to do with your looks, your physical health, IQ, EQ, talent are all a waste if you do not contain grit in you. What I'm trying to say is, although higher IQ, higher EQ are going to be helpful, good looks are always going to be helpful, social influence, your network is going to bring you that immediate satisfaction. However, if you do not have the passion, the perseverance, or the capacity to follow through, the stamina to go ahead with it, you are not going to be successful. A person who has the passion and is disciplined to follow through with everything is always going to overtake others who are relying only on their talent or IQ or EQ. What I'm trying to say is, grit as defined, it consists of passion, as I said, perseverance and follow through, discipline, etc., is the most key ingredient today to become successful. Now, What I'd like to say is that once you start writing, not every article is going to come out the right way. What I'm trying to say is, every good writer that I have personally known, and I can vouch for it, that every good writer across the world does not write a good first draft. What I'm trying to say is, everything is written twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, till the point the writer himself is not satisfied. What I'm trying to say is, good writers always write the same thing in different words multiple times, and then they come out with a good article. So, when good writers, established writers, need multiple drafts to bring the right amount of work, the correct work in front of you, which you enjoy, I think you realize that you might need to do the same. Don't be frustrated if the first draft is not good. It is not supposed to be good. It's supposed to be the starting point. Keep doing it and you will find the right draft. Now, when it comes to writing, as I said, writing multiple drafts, it would always require a system to be developed. What I'm trying to say is, develop a routine around your writing. Basically, my suggestions for developing a routine would be, go analog. Stop using your tablets, your computers, your mobile phones. Go analog. Pick up a paper, pick up a pen. In fact, I write with a ink pen. I use a notebook, I write my first drafts, read them again. If required, I write them again. And then it goes into typing. Then I type it out in a Word file or something, and then it's published. So going analog helps. You need not focus on the glare of the screen. You need not look at the words, the grammar suggestions of the softwares, or you do not have to worry about the technicalities. Go back to the most basics of the systems. You can use whatever system you want, but going analog does help. Make a routine of writing. By routine, I don't mean that you write every day, but create a routine. Let's say you decide that you are going to write 3 days a week, half an hour every time. Follow it. Be disciplined. Whatever happens, don't miss out on that. If you keep practicing writing, your writing is going to become really good. Create a format. So when you start writing, create a format. For me, it's more of like, as we have been taught in school, write the preface first or the intro, then go about the content and write the summary in the end. That's my system. You can develop a problem solution kind of writing style. Somebody else can develop, let's say, talking about the solutions first and then using those solutions to sort out multiple problems in a single shot. It depends completely upon your writing. You are writing about opinions, fine. You might not like giving an intro. That's fine. But whatever system you develop, keep at it. Why? Because that writing style is going to develop an audience. It's not just about the facts or the opinions, but also the style which affects your audience. Now, I usually say that every blog should contain something which makes it exciting. Writers have been calling it AIDA. I'll not describe it fully right now because it's in itself is a huge topic. However, basics are: A stands for attention. So you grab the attention of your reader. I stands for interest. So let's say you write a mind-blowing headline. I read it, it intrigues me, it grabs my attention, but it is not interesting as per my interests. Let's say you write a political blog, the topic is very hot, but I am not interested in politics. So it's not going to work for me, but it might interest somebody else. What I'm trying to say is, audience is important. Based on that, you decide what is going to grab the attention, what is going to interest them enough so that they go to the link, they read the blog and express their opinions. Third point is desire. So when something interests me, what is going to make me reach out to that blog and read about it? Once I start reading it, if it invokes desire in me, so let's say it's a problem solution kind of blog. So if the problem is mentioned in the first line or the first paragraph, it is going to create a desire for me. Okay, is the writer going to give me a solution for this? If it intrigues me enough, I might read on. However, if the style doesn't give me that it doesn't invoke a desire in me to read more, I might stop in the first paragraph itself. So what I'm trying to say is make your blog interesting. Interesting plus it should be helpful. It should make me want to read more. Now the last point is in this, the action part. So whatever you write, if it engages your audience, it asks them to do something with it. The value that you have just added in the blog, if it makes them do something, it's going to be wonderful. I'm not saying that every time that should happen, but an action item in your blog is always going to help you. The most important part, blogging as a full-time job or even as a part-time, if you can monetize it, if you can earn money through it, what's going to stop it? What I'm trying to say is, you are interested, you invest time into writing, but at some point it might become boring if you don't see any kind of earning. You don't see that it's going to help you earn something at least. There are many ways to monetize your content. Either you can start part-time. When I say part-time, what I want to say is you can start writing for clients as a freelancer or even for your own blog. Okay? They pay. Content pays, but you have to be good at it. You can start working full-time. Full-time, by full-time, I don't mean that you leave your current job. By full-time, I mean spending significant amount of your daily routine into writing. Now, again, this can be done for your clients, for your company, for your own website, and any other way you think of. However, my suggestion is when you start, use one of the free platforms available. You have websites like Blogger, WordPress, Tumbler, where you can start writing for free. They give you all the analytics, the basic setup, and you can go through them and see if it suits your requirement. But when you start with a free platform, you don't have to invest resources. Having your own blog, having your own content on your own website requires resources. You have to maintain the website, you have to design the website, everything. But on these free platforms like Blogger, etc., Blogger, WordPress, Tumbler, and there are many other websites. You don't have to maintain them. You don't have to invest money. You just have to invest your time in writing the right content. Now, usually many people come to me asking some questions like earning through microblogging sites. Now, any site, any platform today can be used to earn. However, remember that Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they don't pay you directly. They don't pay you to generate content. What they pay you, or what any platform will pay you for, is if your content is read or viewed by a large number of people, and if they can use advertisements of their platform in your article or blog. If they do that, they share a part of the revenue. If you have your own website, you can use advertisements to earn for yourself. You can use platforms like Google Ads, Facebook Ads, or whatever, but in the end, you are paid for generating traffic to your blog. Whether it's free or it's shared or it's your own platform, in the end, it all comes down to how many viewers do you have, how many people you can influence. Now, a question usually comes is formats. What format of blogging is the best? People talk about video logs, people talk about podcasts, photo blogging, or simple articles. I say that any serious blogger should have a mix of all of these. Podcasts are supposed to be series. It's not easy to maintain a podcast. It requires equipments. It requires investment. It requires technical know-how. Same goes for video logging. A normal video recording can be used, however, to make it attractive, you need equipment. You need the technical know-how of how to edit a video. Photo blogging is an interesting way of presenting your how you see the world. But for that, again, you need good camera equipment. But for writing plain articles, you don't need anything other than the knowledge, an area of your choice for which you have a passion for, and paper and pen. Just write it, type it, and you can even type it on your phone and send it, publish it. So formats, more than formats, what's more important is what method, more than formats, what's important is what content you generate. Many people ask me, which is the best platform to create a blog? Some people say Tumbler, some say Blogger, some say WordPress. There are thousands of, at least thousands of platforms available for blogging. What we need to understand is each platform has almost the same features. WordPress might come up with a feature today which makes it have an advantage, but that advantage is not for very long. Why? Because if it is a good feature, other platforms will copy. They will come up with something similar. So the platform doesn't matter. What matters is what you write. What kind of audience do you have? Remember, jumping platforms is not going to help. Be constant, be consistent at one platform. Acquire a readership. Have a fan following. Doesn't matter if it's 100 or 1000, doesn't matter, but be disciplined about it. Then only you are going to become a successful blogger. As you can see on the screen, other platforms. So people talk about how do we start earning on other platforms. As I said, Facebook doesn't pay you, Google doesn't pay you, YouTube doesn't pay you unless you have an audience big enough where they get an ad revenue from your viewing, from your viewers. If they get that, they share a portion of it. Ideal would be you having presence on multiple platforms and using it to direct traffic to your own blog, personal blog or personal website, because on your personal website, you control the revenue. You know what kind of ads to give. But again, if you want ad revenue for your website, you might have to reach out to the market and find clients for it. So that's again a marketing game. Even for Google ads on your own website for a sharing revenue, you need to have a presence, you need to have a big audience of your content. So in the end, it all boils down what is the size of your audience. Many people ask me that what topics can I write about? See, a good way of finding topics, although I say that do not write on trending topics, write on topics you know about what you're passionate. But again, in those topics also, there are certain things, even if you're passionate about a subject, you need to find the right topic. What I usually do is, you go to Google search for the most basic topic on the subject. Let's say, as I said, let's talk about marketing. How to manage your team. When you search it, when you scroll down, you would see a section called related keywords or related searches. Now these are searches which are being done by people related to your topic that you have searched for. So managing your marketing team, it might have managing your sales team. It might have about how to manage marketing team when they are in the office, or any other number of topics. So you will get an inspiration from there. Remember, any paid tool, any kind of paid suggestions for topics or what is trending, etc. is not going to be helpful. Unless, obviously, you have an audience, you establish everything else. Paid tools are important at a very advanced stage to maximize your revenue rather than start your revenue. Now, the power of written words, as I showed the video, in the video you had a girl punching a boy. It's a very well-known scene from Harry Potter movie, one of the Harry Potter movies. But that video requires equipment and everything. Whereas if the same scene was written by a writer, he would have used 3 or 4 lines to invoke your imagination, where the characters are standing. And if you need a change of scene, he has to just change a few words. But for a video, you might require to shift the whole location, which would require the same expenses which was required on the first location. So what I'm trying to say is the words are very powerful. Now there's a link that I have shared here, which I had shared years back. A girl who is studying in IISc Bangalore. Now IISc is an institute established by Tatas. So she was studying engineering in that college. She came across a job listing. Now this job listing said, defined the criteria for the job, what kind of people are required. But in the end, a note said, lady candidates should not apply. Now, this girl could not believe what she was reading. Why? Because in her eyes, Tata was a big company and this ad was by Telco, which today is known as Tata Motors. Now, this girl was Miss Kulkarni. She decided to, react for this job description. But she didn't know anybody at Telco. What she did was, she picked up a postcard, addressed it to JRD Tata, thinking that obviously Tata, so JRD Tata must be holding a good position there. He must have a say in everything. She wrote a letter directly to him. Obviously, writing words like that it is not expected from Tata, they should, they should not discriminate and all that. I don't know the contents of the letter. It's mentioned on the website. I've written it, mentioned it on the website. Now she receives a call back from the company. She's invited to Pune, all paid expense for the interview. She goes there. People in the interview panel tell her that, okay, fine, we have brought you here for interview, but we don't know how to hire you. Why? Because we have never hired a female engineer in the factory floor, on the shop floor. So she presented her views, she gave all the right answers, and she mentioned at some point that it is what is expected. Somebody has to start giving opportunities. It is the right thing to do, and Tatas are expected to do that. She was selected, and we know her today as Sudha Murthy, wife of Infosys chairman, founder of Infosys. Now, many people say that they are successful because of who they are today. It's not like that. She was not known as the wife of Infosys founder in her college days. She was a nobody. But she took a step. She wrote. That's the importance of words. And trust me when I say this, she was perhaps one of the first employees to ever work, one of the first female employees ever to work on a factory floor with labor, whatever kind of employees they were there. How's that for the power of words? It created her small postcard changed an industry trend. Think of that. Now, I know that this was a short session and I might not have been able to answer all the questions that might have arisen in your mind. The purpose of this session was to introduce the world, or most people who do not write, to writing. And why should they write? Because your writing would have an audience. However, if there are any other questions that you might have, feel free to WhatsApp me on the given number, the number that I have mentioned here. And I do not promise that I'll be able to answer all your questions, or I have the technical know-how or the understanding of blogging as a platform. Nevertheless, I'll try my best to answer those queries, and if I don't know the answers to, I'll look it up. I'll find the answer to them and come back to you guys. We would try to come up with more short sessions, short videos on various topics. However, do look at our website of Next Academy. The domain name is next.academy. We are going to come up with various courses, and I'm hoping that we would be able to launch a short-term course about writing or blogging as well, which will deal into the technicalities as well as creating good content for your blogs. Thank you.